Welcome to the Homestead, friends. As you can see behind me, we've got a lot of pruning to do today. So I'm going to show you how we prune our Muscadine grapes here on our modified Munson trellis system. And then down there, I'm going to show you how to prune these black Spanish grapes, which are on this VSP system, our vertically shoot position system. So on my grapevines, I do something called spur pruning. So that is this portion right here, which I've left over the last several years. I leave a portion of it that has buds on it, and all of these fruiting shoots that come out of it, you can see this is where the fruit was, these come off of these spurs. This is my arm or cordon, and that is the trunk. So for this modified Munson system, I've got the one trunk and I've got it trained to two cordons or two arms. And then I spur prune it every 6 inches, give or take. Sometimes that doesn't work out, like this one is very close here, about 3 inches. But I try to keep them about 6 inches apart, and I also try to keep them facing out towards this outer catch wire. But when I'm pruning them, I want to take off all of these old shoots from last year. Anywhere that this fruited, we need to get rid of that wood on the grapevine. So you can see this new shoot that came out of the spur that was facing down is facing out. So I'm going to keep this one. And if you can see next to my finger right here is a bud. So I'm going to prune this back so that it has two buds left. There's one under here and one right here. And from those buds are where those new shoots are going to come from, and they will fruit on those. You can see I even got fruit from the base of this spur right here, which is pretty crazy. These Muscadines are amazing. They grow really well. They're very disease resistant, and they're very prolific. So I highly recommend that you plant Muscadine grapes on your homestead as well as regular grapes. Why? That's because they are very disease resistant, and I don't have any pests on them either. This is the Carlos and Fry varieties of Muscadines, and they produce so many grapes. But I do want to mention, they have a thicker skin and they have seeds in them, and that's all the varieties. However, they're like 5 times sweeter. They are absolutely amazing. I would say also that with this modified Munson system, it is a really great system to train your Muscadines on. However, the one thing that I would change about mine is to make it taller so I could walk underneath it and pick the fruit. In this case, I have to sit on a bucket and pick the fruit, which is no big deal, but if I was to do it over again, I'd make it taller. You can go back in my video archives and click here for all of my original videos on how to train these up to your wires, how to do the trellis system, and all of that. So let me show you, this is one completed arm. You can see all of these spurs are pruned out here, and I want to show you how big these spurs can get. Take you over the top wire. Here's one of the original spurs that is back near where I formed the arms from the trunk. You can see how big this thing is in my hand, and it has little buds all over it. So I can probably cut this back a little bit, but this is how big they will get, and this is only 4 or 5 years old. So I want to show you real quick my pruners, and there's a big difference, and I'm excited to have upgraded this year. So these work great. I love these. These Fiskars are about 10 years old. I don't know the model number on it, but they're very simple. I think they're like $12, give or take, way back then, so who knows what they are now, but they're very, very good. This pair of Fiskars was supposed to be the upgraded model to this. They're supposed to be better. I despise them. They do not work well. The cutting surface is all wonky, and while they're sharp, they don't cut very well at all, and the force that I get from these is not good. These are the AA0921, so I would not recommend these. Don't spend your money on them. I think they were $25, $27, something like that. Now for this year, I finally upgraded because I have a lot of pruning to do. These are Felcos. These are probably one of the nicest brands on the market and very, very famous. And wow, just from using them for a few minutes on this, they're unreal. they're super sharp. It's like having a really fine pair of scissors, and that's how they sound. These are the Felco 4s, and I'll put a link to them in the description below. They're made in Switzerland, and I believe it was right around $50. They have replaceable jaws and you can take them apart. So if they wear out or you need to get them sharpened, it's really easy to do so. These are usually linked in all my videos. I love these and they still work really well. I need to get them oiled, but this one I'm not going to put down there because I do not recommend it at all. Okay, you can see my black Spanish here on this VSP trellis, and this one you train your cordons down this bottom wire here, obviously trunk, cordon in 2 directions, you can see 2 directions, and then the shoots that come out are where you're going to get your fruit. I did a video on how to train these also and how to build this trellis, so click on the link at the top of the screen. So I'm going to spur prune this as well, so you can see this spur, it's facing up, that's what you want. I'm going to take this one out, which is facing the wrong direction, but this one is facing up and it's got some buds on it right here. I'm going to trim it right above that. We're going to get another shoot coming from this bud and up, and that's where our fruit is going to form. So you can see this spur from last year actually really wanted to fruit a lot and shot out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 shoots. And we had a decent amount of fruit on here, but I'm going to prune this back to 1 to try and get some growth further down the cordon. So let me bring you in close here and show you a few things that kind of broke the rules, but you don't really need to worry about. Take for instance this spur right here. This one is kind of facing down and it's facing away, but my spacing on my spurs here got a little bit big and I had one over here that died. So I need something extra. So I'm going to leave that and then we'll just train it up through the wires, and I'll show you how we do that in a minute. Also, you can see on this one, we've got a bud right here, but we've got another bud very close to the trunk. I could have pruned this all the way back to the trunk and I might get 2 shoots coming out of this one. But you can prune these very close to your cordon or arm and you'll still get shoots that come out of the base. So we are just home gardeners, so you do not need to worry about it. We're not a professional vineyard or a winery or anything like that. So doing it like that is completely fine. So let me show you on the other one here how this works. Here is our cordon or start of a cordon. This one's pretty young. And here is our shoot that came up. These 2 catch wires right here hold the shoot, and then I tie it to the top wire up here when it gets long enough. Now you can put another set of catch wires in between the top wire in this, but I've never found it to be necessary. Always that bottom wire will hold your cordon or arm. Here's something else that breaks the rules for us, and it's not that big of a deal, is we've got a split trunk. So I've got a short trunk down here and it splits into 2. One goes to one cordon and the other will go to the other cordon. You can retrain them if you want, but for us, it's no big deal to have a split trunk. That happens sometimes. If you have any comments or questions, please leave them for me in the comments section below. Now go click on this video right here, which talks about why I think it's important for everybody to have some sort of greenhouse on their homestead. Have a beautiful, blessed day. We'll see you next time. Bye.